There's an opportunity to support the speaker and to sharpen communication skills. This evening, I'd like to introduce our first evaluator. He is a Sales Master Elite at Manhattan Jeep Chrysler. He's been the Salesperson of the Year 10 times, and he's also a Sales Master and Sales Master Elite trainer. He also is a helper with the Working American Bulldog Association. He's a very busy man. Let me give you Neil Iton.
Madam Toastmaster, thank you. Welcome guests and fellow Toastmasters. Well, serious materials was Linda Starr's topic, and I have to tell you, serious materials was serious business. That company, I think, said it all. Their project and mission statement, moving forward with the new presidential campaign, with the global economy and the environment, I think hit the nail right on the head. One of the things that she talked about which impressed me was the fact that 1 billion tons of carbon, which are the greenhouse gases, is what that company set out to strive to do and eliminate from our environment. So what that means for us is your children, grandchildren, and future generations will have the opportunity to have a better life and a safer and more healthy environment. The radio talk show, if I was sitting home, I actually believed it quite well. I felt like I was part of it. At one point, I almost believed that she did speak to President Obama because she knew the questions. They were answered quite succinctly. And I think that the company's mission statement will help to ameliorate the rest of the world and maybe would set a great example for all the rest to follow. If I had to make one, and I'd say it's a little nitpicky thing, because I thought that the vocal variety kind of stayed very consistent. We didn't get a variation, but that can be worked on. And the other thing that I feel that was important that might have been the arm, just a little distracting at times. That if she moved both her hands instead of just the one over and over, it kind of, I almost was following a bouncing ball at one point, but that's a minor thing that can be just worked on, and she'll see that in the tape. Madam Toastmaster.
Enjoying Neil's evaluation. Okay. And our next evaluator, evaluating Margie, will be Donna Hook.
Madam Toastmaster, fellow Toastmasters, welcome guests, and Margie. Margie talked to us about focusing on you, which is focusing on us, really. And there's a couple of things that Margie did very well, even before she got up here. She gave Michelle her bio, which first off established Margie as the expert. Margie is a life coach. And so we were here listening to strategies from somebody who does this for a living, so we could take her words and her presentation very seriously. It's kind of warm right here. This particular speech goal was to get comfortable with visual aids. And the objective was to select visual aids that are appropriate for your message and the audience, and to use the visual aids correctly and with ease and confidence. So I'll focus a little bit on that. Margie did present two things here. She had the book, Extreme Self-Care, and she also had the CD, which she presented later on in the speech. The first time that Margie showed us the book, it was kind of quick. Like, I don't think that we really benefited from seeing it. So from that perspective, I would just say, you know, the first time you're presenting something to an audience, take the time to really show everybody so that they can, you know, get comfortable with the material. But then when you put the book here, of course, we kind of have an odd-shaped room, so it isolates some people. But what are you going to do? You can't address it perfectly. But once you had the book presented, you know, everybody within the eyesight could see it. there was no computer-based visual aid, so I can skip that question. So the purpose of your speech, though, was extremely clear. She told us from the beginning that we're going to focus on you. One of the things you did extremely well was to take some of the comments that we Toastmasters gave in our 30-second go-around about what's new and improved and incorporate it into her speech. Now that's a skill that's not so easy to do, and I give you a lot of credit for that as well. The word choices that you used were quite effective. Some of the colorful language I think might have come out of that book. I mean, even the title, Extreme Self-Care, is a great ear-catching kind of language. And the Ending a Legacy of Depression was another great title that I found particularly useful. So really, the only point other that I would like to make that could improve your speech, and that would be when you were giving that story about the traveling, you kind of stumbled over a little bit. So maybe just practice those kind of stories, because it really did tell us a point, and the point was to take care of ourselves first. And I think, you know, by stumbling it, some people may have lost a little. Right, but overall, it's a great message for the new year. We thank you very much for sharing with it. And, you know, send us all the phone number for that teleconference. We want to be there.
And our last evaluator for the evening, evaluating Grace de la Forterie, is Mike West.
Madam Toastmaster, fellow Toastmasters, honored guests, and of course Grace. Congratulations, first of all. The title of the speech was Organize Your Speech, and I thought that Grace did an excellent job at the main goal of this speech. Number one with Organize Your Speech is to have the opening statement or something in the beginning of the speech really catch your attention. And obviously the title of Grace's speech did just that. To Kill a Mother, Rebirthing Myself. There were several things in the speech that really caught my attention in addition to that. First of all, your honesty with us, being open to the rest of the room. Certainly, I felt that, and your sincerity, and I believe everybody else in the room. I can't speak for everybody, but I feel that there was a general feeling of that in the room. To your credit, to be able to be as honest and sincere with a sensitive subject like that is truly commendable. Now, in addition to that, the evaluation for organizing your speech is to keep the speech moving along through nice transitions, having a catching beginning, nice transitions through the middle, and then a closing, to have a goal together. I thought that the way you described your early childhood, when you moved from the city to that little town, that really set the precipice for the precedent, for the entire speech. You showed the little happy, gleeful city girl. You were the toast of the town. And then as time progressed, when your dad didn't continue to come back, or whatever the circumstances might be, you showed us in the speech and the way that you communicated it to us that your emotions as a child went that way as well. And all of a sudden, you were the children that were known as the kids in town that didn't have, or that were without a dad, so to speak. So I could see, as you gave that speech, you spiraling down into, okay, this is where it all started to begin. And I'm taking from that your mom was feeling the brunt of that as well, and she would take those things out on her children. So you happen to be the youngest of the children, and you seem to, I don't know the ages, but you seem to get the brunt of that. So I understood your frustration through that, and as you continued on with how your mom was you had a fear for your mom. I think we really felt that. Then you moved on to the recovery phase, and I understood that. That was a place where I thought you could have done a little bit better as far as clarifying with the landmark, as well as the Millionaire Mindset seminars. It's like, okay, you're on the road to recovery, the rebirthing. What were some of the examples in your life that actually exemplified this rebirthing? That would have been helpful for me to hear a little bit more about the transition that you were making to the next stage of your life. Certainly, I felt that when you pulled it all together with you talked about everybody has their black box. I would have liked a little bit more explanation about, I was a little unclear. I got it towards the end, but maybe a little bit more explanation up front on the black box. And really for me, just to tie it all together, maybe some examples like I mentioned of, like, now that you realize that you need to release and forgive, it's like, okay, how is your life different now? And I think we see that on a monthly basis when we talk to you. But to have you explain that in the speech would have been a little bit more helpful for me. So, you know, all in all, Grace, I give you tons of credit, and I really appreciate you and your honesty sharing with the crowd and with the group here. Truly a testament to who you are as an individual. So, thank you very much.
We're now moving into the reports portion of the evening, and our first reporter is Sandy Foss.